Now, whether it will fit into what the Minister of Finance has indicated is a different question.
Okay. Honorable Sheikh.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Minister, on the one hand, you talk about cutting the wage bill. On the other hand, every single department, and let me repeat, every department that appears before the Standing Committee on Appropriation is talking about vacancies that they need to fill. So on the one hand, we want to cut, on the other hand, there are vacancies. So there needs to be a balance. But more importantly, is it true that at any given time, there's about 30% of staff that are off on sick on any given time? If you've picked up the phone now, 30% of the staff are on sick leave.
Honorable Minister.
Deputy Speaker. Now first, let me just indicate one thing, and I hope all of us will come to consensus about the problems that we are trying to deal with in terms of description. There's no irreconcilable contradiction between what you are saying in terms of the need to cut the wage bill and vacancies. These are two different issues. We need to fill all vacancies that exist in terms of what each EA and head of department or what head of department determine in terms of their needs in each department. But on the other, we do need to reduce the wage bill. And what we need to understand is that the size of the wage bill does not automatically flow from the number of public servants that we have. As a matter of fact, we can confidently stand here and say, we don't have bloated public service in the Republic. We don't have. Yes, we don't have. No, we don't have. What we have, though, is bloated wage bill. That is what we have. That is what we have. Now, we have done studies on this matter, and we've been thorough. And we now understand how the wage bill has grown, and in a manner that is not related to vacancies or to the number of personnel in departments both at provincial and national level. And therefore, our focus solely is on the wage bill and what has led to the accumulation of this wage bill. And I think that is very important to point out and to understand. And we can give examples of some of the things that have happened over time that have given rise to a wage bill that we have today. This would, among other things, have been unintended.
Minister, don't do that.
Okay.
You'll continue to answer as others answer. Let's get Honorable Swar to ask his supplementary question.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Minister, for the admission. We all know that the public sector wage bill is unsustainable. And the point that you are making is that National Treasury indicates that the average remuneration in the public sector is higher than in the rest of the economy. So that is an issue of concern. However, what I'd like to ask you about, and I know you indicated that there's a lot of detail still needs to be sorted out, but we know that the new negotiations for the next wage settlement will start next year. And so one of the concerns has been in the past that the settlement has been above the consumer price index. And whilst we from the ACDP appreciate a lot of people, police, nurses are doing incredible good jobs, how will we ensure that that increase, if anything, is sustainable when you look at the fiscus sustainability and the fiscal consolidation path that is required to bring our government debt levels into alignment? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Deputy Speaker, you are hitting the core of the challenge that we have. all of us. On one hand, by the time you start that round of negotiations, you already have money in the pocket of public servants, as it were, arising from the agreements that have been reached in the past rounds of discussion. And already that's a problem. Now, we've decided, among other things, to start as early as now to engage with organized labor at all levels. One, at a political level, secondly, at a chamber level. Just to point out that we really are facing quite difficult issues at the moment to reach consensus at that level. In other words, we're at a point where the state has this and that problem, and let's open up, let's be genuine about that, and then we start dealing with the figures. This is how we're going to try and approach. But as I say, it won't include taking money that is already there in the pocket of civil servants, but it rather is focusing on the future to say, what kind of, you will realize that the last two rounds of negotiations went far beyond what could have been affordable at the time in terms of the coffers of the state. That is one of the things that we'll need to avoid this time around. And starting early is important.
Thank you. Honorable Mutsipe.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Minister, there is a constant talk even in your party about the need to develop a capable developmental state. One of the requirements for a developmental state is to have highly skilled civil servants able to fulfill the function of the state across the board. What impact will the reduction of the number of civil servants have on the developmental objective of the country? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. The response is as follows. We have a range of programs to respond in that particular question. But in particular, we have the National School of Government, whose duty is solely on one thing, training on various programs as determined by SONA, determined by legislative framework, and as determined by National Development Plan, among other things. But also articulated, among other things, by honorable members in the House and by the perceptions out there in the public, all of which point to exactly to that kind of situation where we need skilled, we need capable public servants. And therefore, the National School of Government is focusing on those. And what we're going to be doing in the beginning of the year is to review some of those programs, to align them into what, in terms of the prescripts of the sixth administration. And we're already making strides in relation to that alignment and achieving our goals in that regard.
Honorable members, we move to the next question asked by Honorable Kay Kaiser to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. First of all, it is the prerogative of the provincial executive to intervene in municipalities under Section 139. In the 3 municipalities, the 2, Ligwa and Government, the intervention was under 139.5, which means that it's a financial intervention, and the Minister of Cooperative Government gets informed.
the minister does not concur or decide. So it's really the provinces that take those decisions. But in the case of Mutimle Mukupong, this was under 139(1)B, which means that the province decides, but then it asks for concurrence from the national minister. Now, we do give concurrence if the municipality is failing in terms of the three categories: governance, finance, or service delivery related issues. But I cannot answer for the provinces why they haven't put the others under administration, because it really is their prerogative. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kaiser.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Minister, isn't there a monitoring system in the provinces, or can we not develop a system in which we can be proactive in arresting the imminent collapse of municipalities instead of reacting only when there is a crisis in municipalities? Isn't there a way in which we can react before the crisis is in place? Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister.
Yes, I think you're right when you say, isn't there a mechanism in the provinces, because that's their prerogative. But indeed, the Constitution does indicate that you can intervene by supporting the municipalities under Section 154. But of course, if that fails, you have to then intervene differently. But the intervention can also come from the Treasury side. I think, to be honest with you, sitting where we are, we can see the problems in municipalities, in many of the municipalities. A lot of-
Minister,
Yes.
the table is complaining that you are speaking away from the mic.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
that's better.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, yeah.
So I was saying that the honorable member is correct, that shouldn't there be a system in the provinces to, an early warning, if you like, that will tell you that things are not going right in a certain municipality. But to be honest with you, even without that early warning, there should be an early warning, I agree, but even without it, we can see that many of the municipalities are facing problems. We can discuss with the province, but in the end, it's the province that must take the initiative. But some of the problems are also related to us here in terms of the political parties. They must also take responsibility, because they have a lot to do with what happens at local government. Let me leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Honorable Nchaisa.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Honorable Minister, the officials that always send it to municipalities that are not performing well always leave these municipalities in the same position, not doing well. I just want to check, therefore, what criteria do we use in appointing these people that are supposed to give guidance to these underperforming municipalities? Thank you very much.
Minister.
Thank you. When a municipality has been put under administration, the province then appoints an administrator to run the municipality. But let me say that it is sometimes difficult just for one person to change the culture in a municipality. He or she may change things whilst he or she is there, but if the culture is not changed, when he or she leaves, things may fall back to where they were. So I think we need to rethink in a way how we intervene. But for now, it's true that some of the municipalities are under administration for the second time, others maybe for the third time, because the underlying culture was not changed. Just one person was sent there as administrator, and when he comes out, things fall apart. Thank you.
Thank you. Matlanduna, Honorable Lituli.
Mhlonishwa ngiyabonga sihlalo mhlonishwa ngqongqoshe ngicela ukwazi mina ukuthi ngokwazi kwakho njengamanje mhlawumbe mhlonishwa bangaphi bona omasipala abakulesima asebebikiwe kuwena nokuthi ke wona amacala asevulilwe nevulelwe laba abenzi bobubi komasipala uma bekhona bangapha asebegwetshiwe noma abaphambi kwezinkantolo. Ngiyabonga mphathi sihlalo.
Ngiyabonga. Ngizophendula lo wokuqala ngoba lo wesibili arise from my answer. It's a new question which I will answer when it's asked. Ukuthi bangaka asebebekwa amacala, bangaka asebegwetshiwe. So angizuphendula lo kodwa engizokusho ukuthi omasipala esinabo aba under administration ba mashumamane ukuthi ke amacala nasebeboshiwe konke lokho into engayoyicwaninga ngoba phela into eyenzeka ezifundeni ayenzeke national lolo lwazi kufanele ngiyolumba le ezifundeni bese ngiyalibuyisa ke ngizophendula. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you. Honorable Brink.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I understand the Minister's answer that intervention is first and foremost a provincial competence, but if provincial intervention fails or doesn't happen, obviously the Minister must step in or at least engage with the matter. The Eastern Cape Provincial Government has accused the Council of the Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality of being dysfunctional and of failing to meet its obligations. It has assisted the Council by offering to appoint an administrator, but this offer has been rejected by the Mayor, and the acting municipal manager has called it premature. Considering the political chaos in Nelson Mandela Bay and the fact that they are forfeiting 3 billion rand in national government funding, which they'll have to pay back and could bankrupt that municipality, would the Minister support the DA's call for the Nelson Mandela Bay Council to be dissolved? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Section 139C of the Constitution does allow for the dissolution, but there are processes that are followed. A political party does not come to the minister and say, can we dissolve, and we dissolve. There are processes that are followed that start from the province. So I would advise the DA to follow the processes and not say whether I will support or not support. I will only exercise my mind when I've got a request for concurrence. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, we go to question 298, which has been asked by Honorable Gigi Mpunza to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The implementation of the IUDF and the NSDF will not require major changes to the current government functioning. However, it will require better coordination and the provision of coherence and various government programs. This will be enhanced through the district development model and other complementary interventions. The district development model seeks to ensure cooperation, collaboration, and coordination across the 3 spheres of government to enhance local planning, spatial development, amongst other objectives. The model is a practical intergovernmental relations mechanism for all 3 spheres of government to plan, budget, implement, monitor jointly, and act in unison. In terms of functioning areas, there are no additional capacity requirements in order to mainstream the NSDF and IUDF across government. However, there is a requirement for supporting and deepening existing capabilities. For instance, in the areas of planning, spatial planning, financial management, infrastructure management, development planning, project management, economic planning, ICT, if those capabilities are weak, they will need to be strengthened. Additionally, to implement the 2 policies, there will be a further requirement for alignment and coordination of the offices of the Premier, as well as departments of planning, monitoring and evaluation, and cooperative government. At local government level, the department will establish district or metro hubs. And these district and metro hubs will be established in phases across the various districts and metros in consultation with the provinces and the municipalities. The hubs will ensure that there's integrated planning and implementation, sharing of resources and services, that there is also transparency and accountability and impact monitoring within all districts and metro spaces. The district hubs can also be complemented and by coordinating the learning networks amongst municipalities as a platform to learn together, share ideas, and jointly seek solutions to the challenges faced by the urban agenda. Currently, the department, through the IUDF programs, has established a peer learning network that consists of 6 municipalities, namely the city of Mbombela, city of Mhlatuza, Kwadukuza, Steve Tshwete, and Polokwane municipality and Stellenbosch. The peer learning network brings together officials from planning and infrastructure delivery and budgeting offices of the participating municipalities in order to promote collaboration, planning, and integrated service delivery in support of the IUDF, as opposed to current silos. So this is really a sharing and learning and networking of municipalities. That's the platform they have for the IUDF. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Aris.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Sorry. I think I should have called Honorable Mpunza. Excuse. Honorable Mpunza?
Thanks, Deputy Chair.
Deputy Speaker, you mean, eh?
Oh, Deputy Speaker.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Minister, is the alignment, coordination through district planning, implementation and monitoring model paying off to the desired outcomes in the pilot municipalities where we have implemented the district model?
Minister?
Thank you very much. I think it will pay off, but as you know, we only launched the last pilot yesterday, actually. So we can't say it has paid off. But what we can see up to now is that there is increasing change of culture of working in silos. The three spheres of government are beginning to work together, but it's not something that is just going to happen overnight. It's something that is going to be a change of culture, but also when we launched midstream. The plans were already there, so we were not able to blend together. But what we have been able to do is to take all the plans that are there for a particular district. We have taken all the departments that have anything to do with OR. We've looked at their plans, at their budget. We've done the same with the province and done the same with the municipalities, so that we get a full picture of what government is doing at OR. But we have also developed very extensive profiles of each district, so that we can also see whether what government is doing in those districts is speaking to the challenges of the district, but also to the opportunities, because there are lots of opportunities in those districts that have really not been tapped. So we can't say now that it is paying off, but we are positive that what is happening now is positive.
Thank you. Honorable Brink?
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Minister, obviously the National Spatial Development Framework depends for its implementation on different spheres of government reaching crucial agreements. One of the ways municipalities can redress the injustices of the past is to bring people closer to work and social amenities. The City of Cape Town has identified a number of land parcels for affordable housing development, including Upper Darling Street, Wingfield, Youngfield, Easterplaat, and Kulenburg. The problem, Minister, is that they are struggling to have these parcels of land released by Public Works, and this is impeding the city's redress program. Is the Minister willing to meet with the Minister of Public Works to unblock whatever is keeping this agreement and the transfer of that land from being fulfilled? Thanks very much.
Honorable Minister. My apologies, Honorable Aris. Your turn will be next. Thank you. Honorable Minister.
Okay, I think what would help is if we get something from you, we will take it. There is an interministerial committee which is chaired by the Deputy President on land, where the Minister of Public Works sits, where Minister of Agriculture, Rural Development, COGTA, and many others sit. And so this matter can then be discussed there and accelerated there. But I think let's have something from you. We'll put it on the agenda of that interministerial committee. We can meet with the Minister of Public Works, but I think it would be good to have everybody around the table on this matter so that it's accelerated. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Aris.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, spatial planning was used to separate people on the basis of color. And today, it is being on the basis of class. Is there a commitment within government to dismantle colonial and apartheid spatial planning to ensure integrated human settlement and development. The reality of today was in the past, the voortrekkers used to call and put up their forts. That is where then they stay. Today, they just call it a very nice name. They call it private security complexes. What will you do to ensure that you enforce on these municipalities to transform their apartheid spatial development? The reality, Minister, while
Honourable
we're
Member,
speaking about
your time-
integration, they still approve these private security
Your time
complexes
has
that our
expired.
people cannot afford. Thank you, Speaker.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. It is true that special development was engineered for both racial and class discrimination. And I must admit, honestly, that we have not been able to change that up to now. There is willingness to do it, but it's not something that can be done by one department. It has to be a collective. And we hope that as we begin to plan together in the districts in the future, we'll be able to take that into account. So that's all I can say for now. It can't even be the municipalities alone. It will have to be all spheres. Because if there is human settlement, then we must see where the economic activities are, where the SDZs are, and all the other things. So it really needs an integrated approach. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Tlo.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I have a supplementary question. Honorable Minister, what is the risk of invoking Section 139 in all affected municipalities without diagnosing the underlying challenges, and specifically, how long does it take the Provincial Executive Council, PEC, to determine whether to intervene and apply Section 139? Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much. I think Section 139 is not a panacea for all ills in municipalities. You are correct, Honourable Member, that we need to do a proper diagnosis in each municipality and see what are the problems, what is the mischief that needs to be fixed before we just apply 139. How long it takes for the PEC to decide, I don't know, to be honest. Some may take a shorter time, others may take long. I wouldn't hazard a guess on that. Thank you.
Honourable members, we move to question 299, asked by Honourable M.T. Kibi to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Minister, banawe namhlanje.
Yeah, no, ngiyavuma banami esitiki. Kodwa ke bazongithola. Okay. First of all, let me say that the district model is a model that has been developed from our experience of the past. Over the past 25 years, we have realized that we've really worked in silos across national governments, and we also vertical silos in terms of the 3 spheres of government. But also we have learned some lessons, good lessons from the provinces. Some of the provinces have tried to work in an integrated manner. but without involving all three spheres of government. If you recall in KZN, I think they have something called Sukuma Sake, which tries to bring everybody around the table. In Free State, they had Operation Hlasela. In Northwest, they had Sitsukusane. In Gauteng, they had Tirisano. So they were all trying to see how to resolve this issue of working in silos and how to bring everybody, not just government, but also communities. So learning from all those lessons, we have realized that indeed we have not been working according to the Constitution, which says that we are one government in the Republic with three spheres which are distinctive but interdependent and interrelated. That also the Constitution says we must work in a collaborative manner. So after a long discussion, it was then agreed that let's work like that as one government with three spheres. And the district was identified as an ideal place to work because it gives us the scale and all three spheres can work there. We have 44 districts and 8 metros, and so for the sake of this model, we call them districts. So there are 54 in all. But the most important thing is that when this model is working, we should be able, all three spheres, to plan together for that district. But of course, the plans must have the aspirations of the people who live in that district. And we must ensure that we know what the challenge is, we know what the opportunities, we know what the potential of that district is, so that as we plan according to the reality of that district. And in the end, we want to end up with one plan, one budget, one approach, and one implementation approach per district. And every one of us, national, provincial, must be there. But we also recognize that it's not only government that works in that space. There are lots of other role players, traditional leaders, business people, civil society, and everyone must have a say in how that district should go forward.
Thank you, Minister. The next person is Honorable Kibi.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable Minister, as this is intergovernmental relations mechanism, are other stakeholders willing to come on board in terms of plan, budget, and implement jointly? Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you. Indeed, it was for that reason that it was decided that we must pilot this. So we are piloting it in 3 districts, OR Tambo in the Eastern Cape, eThekwini in KwaZulu-Natal, and Waterberg in Limpopo. And these were chosen because they are very different. OR is very rural, but has a lot of potential. eThekwini has both urban and rural space. Waterberg has a lot of mining, which does not so much exist in the others. And we find that as we are piloting, yes, there is willingness for all stakeholders, government, the national, the provincial, and the local departments, but also we are engaging business when we launch and we talk to them, and they are willing also to participate. Traditional leaders have been willing, and they're giving us all sorts of ideas. and we meet with as many stakeholders as possible. And we also recognize that we don't have the monopoly of ideas. So as we are piloting this, we are also accepting good ideas that are coming from the stakeholders. So I think there is willingness. Obviously, we have to put that willingness into practice. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Opperman.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Honorable Minister,
You mean Deputy Speaker?
Deputy Speaker,
Oh,
Honorable Minister, growing the economy, job creation and service delivery are of highest priority for the people of our country. Can you tell us how will the new district development model resolve and address the Auditor General's root causes within municipalities and create the environment for decent work to be generated?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much.
Order, order, honorable members. Go ahead, honorable Minister. Please go ahead. Sorry?
Angizizwa mangabe bebangumsindo ukuthi ngithini.
Kalantule, please.
Okay, I think
Honorable members, please be quiet. You can't just be disrupted so easily.
thank you very much.
Honorable members, you do want to play. Let's finish first and then you can go play outside. Play is absolutely nice outside. But right now, please, let's allow the minister to respond. Members have asked questions. Yeah. Go ahead, Minister.
Okay. I think what the district model does, as we look at the profile of each region, of each district, is to identify the potential, the opportunities. For instance, if I were to be practical and just look at OR Tambo. OR Tambo, there isn't much economic activity happening there at the moment, but there is a lot of potential. It's on a belt that is beautiful, coastal, where tourism, ocean economy can take place. It's got very fertile land where agriculture and agro-processing can take place, where animal stock can be kept. So there is a lot of potential. So as we dig deep into the district, we identify those things and then look at the skills that exist in the district and see how we can enhance the skills so that the skills can be addressing the opportunities so that young people can be skilled to take advantage of the opportunities. But in terms of improving the municipalities themselves and how they function, we have agreed that it may not be possible for now to have all the professional skills in each municipality, but we are going to try and help the district to have all the professional skills so that they can be shared within the district until such time that every municipality can be able to attract those professional skills that will assist in growing the economy in those spaces and taking advantage of the potential in each district. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Sheikh Imam.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Minister, it appears that this three-sphere government has passed its sell-by date. I don't think we're achieving the desired results that we want out of the system. And there's great challenges at local level, there's no doubt about that. What is government's position in terms of attempting to make it a two-tier government, district level and national level, So your supply chain processes and all will now go to district level, cutting the cost, more money being available for service, delivery of services on the ground. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you. That's a very interesting question, but it doesn't arise from everything we have said so far. So what I can say to you, at the moment, we have 3 spheres, and that's what we are working with. If there is a need for 2 tiers, that's a different discussion. It will mean a constitutional amendment. So for now, we are working with what we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Kaula.
Ngibonge mhlonishwa lapho ngaphambili. Minister. Minister, okwami la ngifuna ukubuza ngiyajabula ngoba usuku lomnyango akakhokta. Kunalento ekhona especially endaweni zasemakhaya la kuneyinduna khona namakhosi. La uthola khona ukuthi makuza intuthuko amakhosi neyinduna abazilutho ukuthi imalini eyisabelo saleyo project nokuthi izoqala nini izogcina nini. Babona ngogandaganda mhlambe kufuneka ama-liaising officer bazofika bonke nale contract. Kanjalo futhi nabantu bomphakathi akhona yedwa ozoqashwa. And okubuhlungu manje mase behambile abantu baqhamuka sebebuza enkosini noma induna. Ngifuna ukubuza ukuthi kuwena njengoba sisuka nawe ke kulezi zinto uyazazi. Ngoba laba bantu bashiya indawo bengaqedile njengomgwaqo osuka kaMaphumulo owahamba wodlula phansi ebridgeini uyoxhuma phezulu kaMaduluba emshane kuyimanje ingane zesikole ayihambi nomphakathi unenkinga. Ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi induna namakhosi nizoyirecognize ninazo zibe yiphathi yentuthuko emphakathini nabo nibanike amafoni njengamakhansela lawe adla imali. Cela impendulo eqondile ngqo.
Honorable Minister.
Ngiyabonga sekela la somlomo. Njengoba sithi ke sifuna ukusebenza ngalendlela esifuna ukusebenza ngayo. Enye yezinto esizibonile leyo ukuthi asisebenzi sisonke esihlala kuleyo ndawo, esakhe kuleyo ndawo, asibonisani njengoba sisho besebenza ngamasilo. Njengoba sipilota masiqale OR sabonana namakhosi akhona aba ingxenye yayo yonke into esasiyenza laphana azoba ingxenye yento esiyenzayo kodwa veli kwamanje ngokomthetho amakhosi ayahlala emkhandlwini yomasipala. Noma siya eKZN sahlangana namakhosi noma senza lama launch amakhosi oyihlalo bezindlu zezifunda babakhona bazokhuluma ngelaunch kodwa suke sesihlalile phansi nabo sabonisana. Mangakwenzela nje umzekelo ngesikhathi sibona amakhosi aseThekwini akheli iTheku. Enye yezinto abayicela ukuthi bacela ukuthi makwenziwa iplani IDP babe ingxenye nemkhandlu yabo yokuba khona yokusho ukuthi yini nabo abayibonayo ukuthi kufanele ingene kwi-IDP. Sathi ke thina lokho kuyasijabulisa ngoba veli uma sesenza lolu hlelo uma siqala ukuplana sifuna wonke umuntu abe khona. Hayi nje amakhosi neyinduna nabahlali babe novo. Sonke wonke umuntu abe novo bese kwakhiwa iplan eyodwa esizosebenza kuyona yonke. Kuphele lokho okuthi umphakathi ubone ngoba kungena ugandaganda noma amakhosi neyinduna abone ngoba kufika abantu. Umongameli nayizolo ubephinda leyo nto ngesikhathi sise Waterberg yokuthi Usekela Mongameli lo hleli lapha wexoxa indaba yokuthi ngesikhathi esewundunankulu lapha eMpumalanga wakwathe ihlalele office wezwa sekuthiwa kukhona uminister osefikile kwenye indawo khona lapha eMpumalanga uzokwethula iproject ka more than 200 million kodwa yena ewundunankulu engazi sengisho ukuthi akuwona amakhosi neinduna kuphela ebezingazi bekusetshenzwa nje yilowo eyisebenzela ilowo eyisebenzela manje sifuna kusebenze wonke umuntu kanye kanye.
Siyabonga, Minister.
Okay.
Honorable members, we go to question 292, asked by Honorable B. Maluleke to the Minister in the Presidency. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honorable Maluleke has asked a question on what it is that we are doing to ensure that preventive controls, strong consequence management, and an effective monitoring culture in the public sector, which gave rise to the increase in the total annual irregular expenditure in this financial year, as outlined by the AG, are dealt with. The answer to the question by Honorable Maluleke is that the new medium-term strategic framework, which basically is the program of government for the next 5 years, will have clear interventions and targets on how to ensure consequence management in the public sector in relation to corruption, maladministration, fruitless, wasteful, and irregular expenditure. Examples of what we will do include the introduction of lifestyle audits, the signing of performance agreements, and referral to law enforcement agencies to investigate and prosecute suspected criminal conduct of anyone in the public service. The President will launch the medium-term strategic framework in the new year 2020. We have also outlawed those employed in the public service doing business with the state. This has been followed up with consequence management where such directives have not been followed or met. I thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. I'm informed that Honorable Maluleke is not in the House, so Honorable Ntuli will do the follow-up. Supplementary question, yeah.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honorable Minister, the follow-up question is as follows.
Speak to the mic, just pull the mic to your mouth.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The follow-up question is as follows. What is the effect of the Public Audit Amendment Act to ensure that they adequately deal with the continuous increase of irregular expenditure? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Ntuli, for the follow-up. The President, as we all know, has signed the Public Audit Amendment Act, which came into effect on the 1st of April this year. The Act empowers the Auditor General of South Africa to take remedial action to ensure that losses suffered by the state are recovered from individuals involved. So we have that possibility now, that those who contribute to losses of the state, indeed, we can recover what the state has lost from them. But secondly, the legislation also empowers the Auditor General to refer certain suspected material irregularities for investigation by law enforcement agencies. So we believe, Deputy Speaker, that we have indeed mechanisms now to deal with fruitless, wasteful expenditure in the public sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Malati.
Thanks, Deputy Speaker. Minister Mthembu, in light of the findings of the latest Auditor General's report, which shows that irregular expenditure for the 2018-2019 financial year stands at 61 billion, the majority of which was incurred by the ANC, either in provincial governments, national governments, and also in local municipalities, in contrast to where the DA governs, where irregular expenditure is at its lowest. What will the presidency do differently this time to prevent the ANC in government from continue to squander taxpayers' money to the extent of billions in irregular expenses? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
As we have indicated, those that might have used the monies wastefully and fruitlessly, there is a mechanism of recovering those monies from them. And we are quite aware of many provincial departments and even national ones that have opted for that option. Of those that have not used our monies profitably and prudently, repaying or paying back. There was a terminology that was used some time ago, paying back the money. But secondly, if indeed, as we have said in the original answer, Malat, if indeed there is suspicion that within this 61 billion that we have spoken to, that there is suspected criminal conduct, we can assure you, will not hesitate to involve law enforcement authorities on this matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The other follow-up question will come from Honorable Sonti.
Thank you, Chairperson. Minister, functionaries in the public sector are being demonized for corruption, while in reality they are only following illegal instructions from their political principals. Who forced them into these corrupt deals, including irregular expenditure? What protections have you given to public sector officials who fear losing their jobs should they refuse illegal instructions from corrupt politicians? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Well, I've not come across any report that says people have been given corrupt instructions by political principals. If you have such, please provide us with such, because we have never come across such a report. But we can assure you that our laws in this country disallow any illegal instruction. So if there is any public service worker or employee who is requested or instructed to do something illegal, that employee can ask the person who's making such an instruction to do that in writing. And in fact, that's what we will say to all our public service workers, that if there are any such instruction, request that such instruction be put in writing. I can assure you that ever since I've been in this position of monitoring and planning and evaluation, I've not come across any public servant who has come forward and said, I've been forced to implement an illegal instruction. I'm hearing that for the first time from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The last follow-up question will come from Honorable Ntuli. Ntuli of the ANC.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you. I would love to thank you, the Minister, for all the responses.
So, thank you.
Honorable Chair, that member was actually standing in for the person who asked the original question. Please.
Oh, but But she pressed. Okay, that was a mistake that she pressed. Okay, thank you very much. Then we continue. Thank you. Members, we now move to question 305. That has been asked by Honorable Opperman to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The department does not have any legal mechanism to assist municipalities to recover any unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, or wasteful expenditure incurred. Nonetheless, the recent amendment, Public Audit Amendment Act number 5 of 2018, amongst others, provides for the Auditor General to issue a certificate of debt where an accounting officer or accounting authority has failed to recover losses from a responsible person, or to instruct the relevant executive authority to collect the debt. This will complement the implementation of Section 32 of the Municipal Finance Management Act, which provides for measures pertaining to the recovery of unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure from liable local government officials and politicians, in terms of which each municipal council has a duty to introduce and adopt policies and processes to prevent, identify, and investigate unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. We wish to take this opportunity to invite this House of Parliament, as well as houses in the provincial legislatures, to assist us in providing oversight with regards to the extent of implementation of these provisions. After all, the business of local government is everybody's business. In order to empower local councils, COCTA, in collaboration with National Treasury and SALGA, have developed a manual, a Municipal Public Accounts Committee guide and toolkit to assist members of MPEC to perform their oversight responsibilities and other related roles. The MPEC guide and toolkit aims to improve accountability, transparency, effective and efficient use of public resources in executing municipal functions and thereby improving service delivery. The department, together with the others, is currently rolling out training and information sessions of the MPEC guide so that MPECs can exercise their responsibilities effectively, including, amongst others, investigation of fruitless, wasteful, unauthorized expenditure, reviewing and recommending to council actions relating to the expenditure, and conclusion of these expenditures and consequence management processes. According to the National Treasury information at the end of 2018-19, the MPEC guide and toolkit had been rolled out, and a total of 879 MPEC councillors and 205 municipal officials had been trained countrywide. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Opperman.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Honourable Minister, in the Northern Cape, there are municipalities where the relevant provincial MECs already intervened and written letters to the councils for MMs to vacate their positions because they did not meet the minimum competency requirements. Yet after 2 years, these MMs are still in their positions. Who is liable for the millions in unauthorized, irregular, and fruitless and wasteful expenditure during their tenure?
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Well, the MMs are actually employed by the municipalities. So it's the municipalities, the councils, that keep them when they know they shouldn't be keeping them. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Shilembe?
Minister, very often the cause of wasteful and irregular expenditure is due to actions of politicians and officials who use council resources for their own benefit. In the Utukela district municipality, the deputy mayor took the council vehicle to watch soccer match in Johannesburg. She got drunk, and through her negligence, the vehicle was stolen. To this date, she has not been held accountable, nor council has recovered its losses. What action are you willing to take in this specific case to ensure that the deputy mayor pays back the cost of that vehicle to the municipality? Thank you.
Honorable Minister?
I thought I'd informed you that legally I cannot go to a council and demand anything. So the legal route must be followed by the relevant authorities. The council needs to take action. The minister has there's no locus standi going to the council and saying, do this, do that, do that. You know that as you ask the question, you know it. Thank you.
Siyathokoza. Mhlonishwa Komani?
Thank you, Chairperson. Minister, we all know that the unauthorized and irregular expenditures are perpetuated by fraud and corruption. The only way of dealing with deeply embedded corruption in municipalities is to have a concerted investigations and prosecution drive, which will show people that no one can steal and mess the public funds without the consequences. What engagements is the minister intending to do, particularly with the Hawks and the NPAs, in terms of supporting the municipalities because they are answerable to the department? What is the engagements between the two entities to show that the people are held accountable? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister.
I think the Hawks and relevant authorities do investigate, and it's up to them, after finding whatever they find, to prosecute. The minister can't say, go and prosecute this one, because they are the ones who do the investigation. They are the ones who know whether there is a case to answer or not. They are the ones who issue arrests, and then the courts then deal with the matter. So as far as we are concerned, the Hawks must do their work, and all the authorities must do their work, and we will not stand in their way, but we have no authority to instruct them what to do.
Thank you. That's all I had on my screen for this question. I will now move to question number 313, asked by Honorable Eza to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Question 313, the Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. What I can say to this question is that it is desirable that the equitable share should be revised, because we have found that the formula for equitable share is useful insofar as it represents a transparent and predictable budgeting and distribution framework in which all spheres of government can participate. However, the formula as it stands does not take into account the real needs and developmental challenges confronting the various municipalities. The formula also places an assumption on that all municipalities can and have equal capacity to generate revenue. However, we all know that certain municipalities, particularly those in small towns, rural areas, in townships, there is a challenge in terms of collecting revenue. To address this, Minister of Finance has proposed that a special budget forum, Lekgotla, be held to discuss the design of the local government fiscal framework. To prepare for that Lekgotla, the department will work with the National Treasury, SALGA, Status A, and the FFC to improve the local government fiscal framework, including the local government equitable share formula. So we are awaiting that Lekgotla, and hopefully at that Lekgotla, it would be agreed to revise the equitable share. Thank you.
Thank you. Mhlonishwa Xeza.
No, thank you very much, Chair. I'm happy, Minister, that we do agree that there should be a revision of the equitable share in the manner that it's structured currently. The municipalities are chronically underfunded, Minister. Yet they are at the coalface of service delivery. It is for that reason that we think they should get the lion's share of the equitable share. But equally, Minister, we see no reason for the continuation of provinces as constitutional spheres of government. Do you not think that keeping provinces is an unnecessary strain on the fiscus? Is there a need for the continuation of provinces in the country? Because everyone resides in municipalities, not in provinces. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. I will agree with you that the municipalities are at the cold face of delivery, and that actually the population sees government through local government. And when they are angry with local government or with government generally, they take it up on local government. They ban councillors' houses, municipalities, or whatever. So that we agree. And we also agree that everything happens in the local space. We live there, business is there, everything happens in the local space. Even all of us sitting here were elected through votes that took place in the local space. So there, we all agree. We also agree that the municipalities' funding are underfunded. Whether they will get a lion's share or a tiger's share, I don't know. But all I know is that
Order, honorable members.
Or an elephant's share, I don't know. All I know is that they are underfunded. The issue of existence or non-existence of provinces is a story for another day, another place. It's not something that we can discuss here and now. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Swart.
Thank you, House Chair. Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, we are fully aware of the financial deterioration in municipalities, with uncollected revenues growing by 17% to 147 billion, and overdue accounts owed by municipalities have grown by 52% to 36 billion. Half of that owed to ESCOM, which is a later question. Now, in view of the above and the poor financial performance by municipalities, can it be justified to consider increasing the equitable share formula? Now, I've already said in Parliament that we need to consider that, but surely one must first get the municipalities' houses in order before one can give them additional funds. And if you agree with that, then how do we do that to improve get the houses in order? I support additional funding, but we've first got to get the municipalities' financial houses in order. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you. You know, some of the municipalities are not able to even spend their MEEC grant. One, because they can't attract professionals in their space because their revenue is small. They are not, even when they come, some of the engineers go there just to get a bit of experience. Once they get it, they are gone. Financial expertise, they don't stay there. Planning expertise. So some of the municipalities don't have the professionals that they need to actually put their house in order. And it is for that reason that earlier I said that we need to work in such a way that we at least ensure that in every district, those expertise are there, so that even if they can't be in every municipality, but they can be shared in that space. So I agree, but we can't just say put your house in order when they don't have the professionals they need. So we need to improve their capacity. And once we have improved their capacity, they'll be able to spend what they need to spend. But also, in terms of revenue, we also must remember, let me give you an example. When there is no water in a locality, there is a drought or whatever, and the municipality has to deliver water to the area with water tankers. That water is not metered and is not paid for, but the municipality has paid for it from the water board. So these are all the things when all these formulas and everything were put in place that were not considered. That when a municipality delivers water in a rural space with tankers, who pays for that water? So we can blame the municipalities. I'm not excusing them. I'm saying, yes, there are problems. Some of them are corrupt. Some of them are what? But also there are genuine problems that we have not addressed properly. So even if that municipality pays for the water that's metered, they will still owe for the water that was delivered with tankers to the rural community.
Thank
so
you.
there are lots of examples like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Vessels.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Related to what you just said, Honourable Minister, that you can't blame municipalities in all cases because of the lack of professionals, there are currently municipalities which have been informed by National Treasury that their quarterly payment of the Equitable share due will not be paid in terms of Section 2162 of the Constitution. The residents of these municipalities will suffer as a result of non-compliance by these municipal councils. How will your department mitigate the effect of this on basic essential service delivery and prevent the most vulnerable residents from suffering the consequences? Are you engaging the Minister of Finance on this issue with regards to non-payment in terms of Section 216?
Minister, before you respond, may I remind you of Rule 142, number 7? Continue, Minister.
Thank you. Yes, there are discussions taking place between us and Treasury. But at the end of the day, Treasury has the purse, and they can withhold it or give it. But we are discussing with them because precisely for the reasons that you have put, it's almost going towards the festive season, and people will be back on holiday, even those who are working, and it would be a big pity if they can't get the very basic services. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Brink.
Thanks very much, Chairperson. The comment made by the Minister is obviously true that certain municipalities don't have the capacity and the resources to get their house in order. But there are pertinent examples of fairly large municipalities, including metropolitan municipalities, whose problem isn't the equitable share, but whose problem is getting the basics right, including collecting revenue. Now, as we speak, Minister, the Mangaung municipality is on terms with Eskom. Their power will be cut next week if a deal isn't made. They also owe money to Bloom Water. And the prospect is, because of this dysfunctionality of that metropolitan municipality, it will become the first metro in South Africa where water and lights are cut off because of dysfunctional bad government. My question is, will the minister intervene to stop this metro from having its lights cut off and its taps run dry? Thanks very much.
Honorable Minister.
Well, I think let's be frank with each other. We can only discuss. We don't have any legislative to say stop. The Treasury and ourselves, in fact, Treasury has the authority for pricing and for making sure that bulk services are paid for. But we work with them. And we will try our best, but I cannot stand here and say it will not happen. But we can try as we have tried in other areas. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the last follow-up question to the question 313. We now move to question 294, asked by Honorable Nkomo to the Minister in the Presidency for Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Honorable Minister.
Modulasetulo, a ke thome ka gore rena mo ntlong ye le batho ka moka ba Limpopo le Afrika Borwa ka phara ka moka re inamiša diphatlhogo tša rena mo go tlogeleng ke ngwana o mo botse o moswa ka botlhoko ka phalalo ya madi e leng Precious Ramabulana. At this time, ge basadi ba swantse ba tlhokomelo le go feta, because it's that month again where we should be fighting against gender-based violence and femicide. A moya wa go roba le boroko bao ba mo tlhokofaditšego ba swarwe ka ponyo ya leihlo. To the question, gender auditing it's work that we do together with monitoring and evaluation. Cabinet adopted the gender responsive planning, budgeting and monitoring evaluation and auditing framework, commonly known as GRP BMEA, in March this year, which the Department of Youth, Women and Persons with Disabilities leads on. This framework comprises different elements that are clearly very distinct on their own, yet very interrelated, a very interrelated concept. The department has already ensured that for the medium-term strategic framework 2019 to 2024, containing the 7 national priorities of the country, includes gender-responsive planning with gender-responsive indicators and targets. The department also is engaging on the processes of ensuring that all departments in the 5-year strategic plans and their 2020-2021 annual performance plans also include indicators, targets, and interventions that are gender-specific. On issues of auditing, let me say, Honorable Member, there is a very clear distinction between a traditional financial audit and that of social audit, to which gender auditing falls. While both of them are quality audits, one of the key features of the gender audit is that it's very participatory in nature and also very distinct from our monitoring methods as possible. Gender auditing lends itself well to providing the comprehensive picture of processing of progress made by specific department, organization, or entity in respect of gender mainstreaming and strategies we are using to achieve the goal of gender equality. It will establish the baseline of performance and set out benchmarks for measuring progress based on set criteria and actions. The process will also enable identification where critical gaps and challenges exist and will make recommendations on ways of addressing these challenges. It therefore entails having a set of trained gender audit facilitators to work with individual departments over a few weeks. The process is multifold. Assessing key policy documents, measure publications, programs, budgets, monitoring and evaluation carried out, conduct individual interviews of key personnel, partners, and relevant constituencies of women in the women's sector, hold participatory workshops with the department's managers and technical workshops.
Thank you. Thank you. The Honorable Nkomo.
Thank you, House Chair. Indeed, Minister, we need to measure anything that counts, including gender auditing. Will your engagement with the Auditor General look into the possibility of auditing financial expenditure of departments and entities on women empowerment? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Through you, Chair, the Auditor General has already shown interest in working with us in making sure that we make departments audit even this part that we've just referred to at the moment. Auditor General can play a critical role in undertaking a gender audit during annual auditing processes. Thank you.
Thank you. Umhlonishwa Mpiti.
Thank you, House Chair. Honorable Minister, the Commission of Gender Equality has on a number of occasions indicated in our portfolio committee that they require more funding. One of their mandates is about ensuring gender equality, particularly when it comes to the development of gender indicators. Noting, Minister, that you've missed 3 consecutive meetings of the portfolio committee and that the joint meeting that was set up last week collapsed under your watch that was supposed to deal with gender-based violence in this country, what is your plan and your department to speak to the issues that are facing women in this country, particularly when it comes to mainstreaming of gender indicators?
Well, let me say once again to you that, Honorable Member, the meeting was postponed by the chair because of documents that were not talking to each other. Let me respond directly to your question that we are working on the conclusion of the current National Strategic Plan and working still on the 6-month program that had been started by the President, where President worked with us to reach out and get from particularly JCPS cluster departments 1.6 billion in the meantime to reach out to the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide in our country. We have said and we repeat, as a way we would be celebrating the life of Precious, that enough is enough. Not only that, but we should be starting right here to say no more other women die in the hands of those who should love and protect them. The responsibility of protecting women in this country, it's not a responsibility of women alone. It is the responsibility of the society, including the honorable member. We all have a responsibility as a society that women are safe and feel safe.
Ra leboga. Makaula.
Ngibonge mhlonishwa lapho ngaphambili minister. Ayikho into ebuhlungu njengokuthi la sizodlala. Lana lento yokuthi kulwisana nokuhlukumezeka kwabantu besifazane ngikuthola sekuyibhizinisi okuthola ukuthi kunama NGOs asedla izimali ngakho ngoba bona bajabulela nje kuphela ukuthi bazohamba nenze lama 16 days kodwa abantu babehlupheka lana emfuleni ku ward 108 lapha kunomndeni owashiselwa umuzi kwafa ingane umuntu wesifazane icala lavula la ifile yakhona itshingwa ne case number ngambile ngomhla ka5 last month ngayivusa lelo case ngifuna ukwazi lamacala avulwa njalo okureshwa nokubulala kwabantu besifazane azoqulwa nini yini ngempela sijabuliswe thina minister ukuthi sihambe sijabulwa sigubha lolu suku ekubeni mawuthi uyabheka kwenzeki
Siyabonga, my question.
Ibhizinisi uyasick and tired indaba okudlala ngale nto ade sibabamba namhlanje
Ubuzile umbuzo wakho.
Ngiyabonga.
Cela umphendule.
Lelokule tlhomphegang re bolela wa letlhabula gore ke re Makaula re bolela ka molomo wa letlhabula re a kwana gore a ifele taba ya go tshwenywa ka basadi le bana mo Afrika Borwa go se ke ba lo dumelwang go dira kgwebo go bolaya ka se go bile kgwebo e tlhomphegang ke bofshega. It's people with low self-esteem, male, I'm sorry to say that, who find killing and maiming women and children as a playground. We are no longer going to work together with you just for 16 days, but 365 days, enough, it's enough, as President had said.
Ra leboga magorena me Mahlengwa. Honorable member, why are you rising?
Ngiyabonga mhlonishwa wami. Ngiyamuzwa ekhuluma umhlonishwa uminister. Lento ibhlungu ngoba abantu ababoshiwe kuyimanje and kunayo uqobo kunama case engwafakile. Laba abantu ababoshiwe bayaziwa.
Ngiyabonga ma. Ngiyabonga.
Bona ngoba behamba nama bodyguard.
Thank you very much. Mam Kaula indaba yakho iserious ngicela ukuthi ungamyeki uminister umbambe nakaphuma la nikhulume ngayo le ndaba. Mam Uhlengwa.
Thank you, House Chair. Thank you, House Chair, Honorable Minister. Ideally, this department should play an oversight role in all other departments to see to it that the agenda of women, youth, and people living with disabilities is carried out. Has this department made an effort to specifically present this agenda with other departments to ensure that there are measures to address the historical injustice? I thank you.
Madam Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Member. This matter is on the item, it's a standing item on the cluster meeting here, criminal justice system. more redulang le bona batho ba. I turned around because I saw Minister Cele sitting here. He was with us in Lepala the other day. So when we were launching 16 days of activism, he came out with a 6-point plan. He outlined the things that they will be doing from the police side, from rape kits to all the things that we would need, working together with social development and all other departments, including justice. They are busy launching special courts throughout the country. Within the next coming 12 months odd, we will have 12 new ones. One has been launched in Limpopo. Yes, a journey of less than 6 months cannot be that of 5 years. Join us in making sure that as we adopt the National Strategic Framework, the new one, we are making use of this time and period that the President has given us of 6 months, making sure enough, it's enough. Kwanele.
Ra leboga mohlomphehi tona. The next question, question 319, is asked by Honorable Lutuli to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Mohlomphehi Minister.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Section 41 of the Municipal Finance Management Act provides for the National Treasury to monitor prices and payment for bulk resources. Further, the Act provides for each organ of state providing such bulk resources to a municipality to, within 15 days after the end of each month, furnish the National Treasury with a written statement setting out for each municipality, for each municipal entity providing municipal services on behalf of such municipalities, the amount to be paid by the municipality or municipal entity for such bulk resources for that month and for the financial year up to the end of the month. The arrears owing and the age profile of such arrears and any action taken by that organ of state to recover arrears. So, though it is under Section 41 of the Municipal Financial Management Act, that is for Treasury to monitor prices and payments for bulk resources, we do work with them as COCTA to try and assist municipalities. That's all I can say.
Sithokoze Mhlonishwa Brink. No, sorry, Honorable Lutuli, yes.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Minister, in as much as municipality owes ESCOM and the water boards billions of rand, it is not merely as heavy as the debt owed by municipalities, by household, and the state. What has the department done so far in ensuring that there are campaigns run cultivating and a culture of payment by the community for servicing rendered, given that the culture of non-payment for the services by the citizen had been condemned by both the Minister of Finance and the state and the President of the country. I thank you.
Sithokoze Mhlonishwa Ngqeshe.
Thank you very much. I think that campaign should be waged by everyone. Every single one of us must wage that campaign of changing the culture of non-payment so that everybody pays for what they use.
Sorry, Honorable Minister, do you mind to talk into the mic? I think. Thank you, ma. I'm sorry for that. Continue. Yes, thank you.
Bungangizwa, sorry.
Okay.
No, bengithi lo mkhankaso lo wokuthi abantu bakhokhele iy'nsiza. Kufanele kube umkhankaso esiwenzayo sonke. Njengoba kuzovalwa nje, kufanele ukuthi sonke masiya kuma constituencies zethu siubambe lo mkhankaso. Wonke umuntu akhokhe. Kungabikhona umuntu ongakhokhi. Kodwa ke sikhumbule futhi ukuthi kukhona abangakwazi ukukhokha. Aba-indigent. So labo abakwazi ukukhokha noma singakhankasa sifike phi abakwazi ukukhokha. Kodwa labo abakwazi ukukhokha kufanele ukuthi bakhokhe. Nabantu abasebenzayo kuhulumeni komasipala kuhulumeni kufuneka bakhokhe. Nabantu abasebenzayo emabhizinisini kufanele bakhokhe. Nohulumeni waka national nowe province mangabe ekweleta umasipala kufanele ukhokhele umasipala. Akekho umuntu okufanele angakhokhi. No Eskom owisho umasipala kufanele ukhokhele. Wonke umuntu kufanele akhokhe. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga ma. Mhlonishwa Brink.
Thank you, Chairperson. As a courtesy to the Minister, I must just inform her that I'm going to put this question in my mother tongue for translation purposes. Minister, Eskom dreig om teen volgende week...
Would you, Honorable Brink, just if... Let's allow her to have her mic on.
Baie dankie, Minister. Eskom dreig om teen volgende week beurtkrag binne werksure toe te pas in die Mamusa munisipaliteit in die Noordwes. Dit sal rampspoedige ekonomiese en sosiale gevolge hê vir die gemeenskappe van Epelegeng en Swazireneke, selfs diegene wat wel hulle munisipale rekeninge betaal. Die Mamusa munisipaliteit skuld Eskom sowat R80 miljoen en dit terwyl die Dr. Ruth Segomotse Mampate distriksmunisipaliteit vir die munisipaliteit omtrent R20 miljoen skuld. So die distrik skuld die munisipaliteit omtrent R20 miljoen. My vraag is, wat is die advies van die minister aan die inwoners van Mamusa wat wel hulle munisipale rekeninge betaal en wat geaffekteer gaan word as die krag volgende week afgesit gaan word? Dankie.
Dankie. Mhlonishwa.
Ayike angazi nami ukuthi ngizothini kodwa ke siyathemba ukuthi ngeke bacishelwe ugesi. Siyathemba ukuthi ungqongqoshe lo wezimali nathi nomasipala sizozama ukuthi bangacishelwa. Kodwa ke anginaso iseluleko kubahlali ngaphandle kokuthi sizozama ukuthi umasipala uEskom angawucishi ugesi, acishele abantu abakhokhayo, ngoba if abahlali bayakhokha akufanelanga ke ngomthetho bacishele ugesi uma bekhokha. So kufanele ke xoxe nomasipala, kodwa uMamusa veli umasipala nje osenkingeni. Umasipala osenkingeni mangabe uyakhumbula ukuthi useze wafakwa ku section 139C ngoba kunenkinga kakhulu. Sekuze kwathiwa kungcono uhlakazwe kuyokhethwa kabusha ngoba kunenkinga enkulu eMamusa. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, Minister. Akhbaralit Swart.
Thank you, House Chair. Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, you correctly indicate that this is a very complex issue. with a culture of non-payment that does need to be addressed, and we should all try to assist in that regard. I would like to just focus on the one area, and that is, as we know, many municipalities, in fact, all buy their bulk services, whether it is water or electricity, from the bulk service providers, and that is seen as part, they then sell it on. Is it not possible, the fact that they are selling it on and deriving revenue, to ring-fence that revenue that they obtain for selling electricity to consumers or selling water, to ring-fence it, which will enable and ensure that those funds are then paid over to the bulk service providers? That could be a possible option to resolve this outstanding debt. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think it's an option, but I think, as you say yourself, it's complex, because in some instances, they buy the services and they sell them at a less than the price they're buying it. So even if they are paying everything that they get, they still owe. So we are also trying to work with them so that they don't buy from Eskom, for example, 10 rands and sell for 8 rands, because they will forever be owing Eskom if they do that. But some of the municipalities are actually doing that. And they njengoba iseduze kangaka kwami. Did you hear me? Okay, thank you. He heard. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am Sonyane.
Thank you, House Chair. Eskom has now resolved to switch off the lights for municipalities that did not pay their debts, even after there were arrangements made previously. Are you in support of Eskom terminating their services to defaulting municipalities? And 2, what impact will this have on the functioning of municipalities and its citizens? Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
I'm not in support of citizens being deprived of electricity, especially if they pay for it. So I'm not in support of it. And the impact, obviously, will be dire during December if people don't have electricity. So what we can do, I don't know. Minister of Finance and all of us, I don't know, because we have been assisting municipalities to make arrangements with Eskom to pay their debt slowly. But some of them still even default, even on that arrangement. But we cannot also punish paying citizens for the fault of municipalities. So we have to find a way of dealing with it. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move to question 301, asked by the Honorable Kibi to the Minister of Public Service and Administration. 301.
Thank you very much, Host Chair. The response to that question, because of the nature of the question, what we did, we divided our response into 3. So I'll start with the first part. And the first part takes one section, namely, how far is the public service from reflecting the stated intention of government to build a professional, meritocratic, and reskilled public service. Now, the answer is for that part, DPSA is a human resource development strategic framework, which is a blueprint for capacity building and development of public servants to enable them to competitively or competently undertake their responsibilities in line with the mandate and priorities of government. The intent of this framework is to build an efficient and effective professional and developmental orientated public service through establishment of policies, structures, operational processes for capable and high-performing employees. As part of continuous improvement in implementing the framework, there's been a number of, there's been reviewed to align, so the strategy has been reviewed to align it with the visions of government, macro developmental policies, namely, the National Qualifications Framework, Act number 208, New Growth Path, 2010, National Development, 2011, and the National Human Resource Strategy, South Africa, towards 2030. Now, these are all the key policies that have been developed over time, and according to which human resource development has been reviewed. And finally, an in-depth evaluation report of the implementation of human resource development in the public service between 2009 and 2014. That in-depth evaluation is available. Now, the second part of that question deals with organizational culture, ethics, and public service. And our response to that section is as follows. The Public Service Regulations 2016 brought about the following reforms as far as ethics and integrity management are concerned. And there are quite a host of those. One, employees are prohibited from conducting business with the organ of state. Two, employees are prohibited from accepting bribes, gratifications, and the context under which gifts can be accepted is clearly stated. Three, employees are required to report unethical conduct, corruption, and non-compliance to the Public Service Act 1994 and Public Service Regulations 2016. Four, the performance of other remunerative work was standardized. Ethics infrastructure was introduced to specific anti-corruption management functions allocated to the head of department, including the whistleblowing. And number six, from April 2014, only SMS members were required to disclose their financial interests, but with the extension of categories, after April 2018, disclosures was required from middle management service members, professionals on OSD, salary levels 11 and 12, and supply chain management personnel, finance personnel, ethics office, and public service commission officials working in financial disclosures. Well, there's been an extension to other categories, therefore, below SMS. And the intention is to extend disclosures to all employees in the public service. An electronic system, e-disclosure, was introduced in August 2016 to improve on compliance with financial disclosure regulations. All designated employees are required to use the e-disclosure system to submit their financial disclosure forms.
Thank you.
There's a third section of the question. I need a guidance, Chair.
Honorable Minister, okay, with the discretion that I have, I still have a minute. But we need to do it, we need to wrap it up, please.
Thank you very much. The third section talks about roots of participatory democracy at all levels and spheres through building partnership with civil service. We can talk about the Public Service Charter. There is one lever for participatory democracy, but to peel the principles as they apply. And further than that, there is APRM, which encourages participation at all levels, particularly within civil society. These are all the mechanisms that we wanted to talk about.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Kibe.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Minister, professionalizing public service requires continuous training and reskilling of public servants to new ways of doing things, including technological advancement. What additional measures will the department implement to reskill public servants in this age of the fourth industrial revolution? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Public service is reliant on the National School of Government for all programs on training, including the ones that you are referring to, 4IR. But over and above the school, the National School of Government, we rely on different EAs and their departments to keep apace with the needs of each department and of public service general. So there are ongoing training and in-service training programs that take place within public service. But there are ones that are prescribed, that are specific, that are ongoing, and a number of, each year, a number of public servants are required to go through those programs in the National School of Government, and it is working. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Scribe.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair, just 2 days ago, the Public Service Commission released its latest Pulse of the Public Service report. The report highlights that national and provincial departments still owe our job-creating businesses billions in unpaid invoices. The report also shows that public servants routinely ignore court rulings without anyone having been fired. The fundamental cause of this is that we have the wrong people in the public service, because politicians have the power to appoint public servants, to dismiss officials, and to discipline them. If we are serious about building a professional and meritocratic public service, we must give these powers to the Public Service Commission. My question to the Minister is, will you support the DA's pending legislation to abolish cadre deployment and empower the Public Service Commission to handle senior appointments, dismissals, and discipline in the public service? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Well, maybe I should respond by respond by asking you another question that say, will the DA support policy of government as determined and as being rolled out throughout public service? And my guess is that you will and you are, and we have to appreciate your cooperation in this regard. But if you're talking about need for improvement, yes. And I think we're working very well with you in the Portfolio Committee to make sure we make progress in those improvements. I haven't heard any contradiction from whatever views that you have raised since I got appointed. And therefore, I don't think we must further in this House attempt to politicize what we need to do in public service. And I think we must reduce that and cooperate and work together so that we promote professionalism within public service. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Mutsepe.
Thank you, Chairperson. Minister, in terms of Section 195 of the Constitution, enjoins the public service to be broadly representative of the South African people, and that those previously excluded from employment and personal management practices be included. Do you think the systematic exclusion of black executives from the management of state-owned enterprises is in sync with the Constitution? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Let me start by indicating that we are responsible for public service in terms of the Public Service Act and Public Service Management Act. The category of workers that you are talking about are not part of our responsibility. But as we move on in terms of implementing Public Service Management Act, we will be applying norms and standards as required by Public Service Management Act. And therefore, I'm not in a position to, unless I want to mislead you, to answer directly to that particular question. But I would see it as falling within and taking the form that all of us want to take. That we don't want, we just want public servants to be ethical. We want them to be professional. We want less interference from, unnecessary interference from EAs and so on. That is the line broadly, even in SOEs, even though we don't necessarily apply Public Service Act to those as yet.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Sangwa, MD.
Honorable House Chair, apologies, I'll be taking the question. My gadget seems not to be working still as of yesterday. Well, Minister, in order to build the said vision of a public sector and truly reflective of the will of the people, corruption, irregular and wasteful expenditure needs to be addressed. I would like to know whether your department has engaged other departments who have been found to irregularly spend and what steps have been taken to prosecute and recover irregular wasteful expenditure. If not, why? If so, what are relevant details?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Let me start by saying earlier on, my colleague, Minister Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, did indicate the new development in relation to the powers of the Auditor General, where the Auditor General is now empowered to decide on his own measures in relation to irregular and fruitless expenditure and other related expenditures. He is empowered to issue a certificate to the accounting officer relevant and a certificate of liability in terms of which the relevant accounting officer can be made solely liable for whatever fruitless or irregular expenditure. That's measure number one. And all of us support that, and we think it's taking the right direction in terms of not only enjoining accounting officers to do their work and do it perfectly, but also in terms of consequence. But apart from that, EAs serve as supervisors to their HODs and DGs. And one of the things that all of us as ministers have to do is to minister, meaning we have duty to ensure that whatever accountability measures we implement and follow up on those measures. And there are many in all of us, in all the departments. And in turn, HODs and DGs have the similar responsibilities downwards as per deployment of powers to perform particular tasks.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Question 306 was asked by Mr. Honorable Wilson, but the first supplementary question will be taken by the Honorable Brank. Minister. The question goes to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. 306. I'm just clarifying.
Thank you very much. The prerogative of intervening in a municipality lies with the province. And the province can intervene, and the procedure is clear. The Executive Council must take a resolution to intervene, and they can intervene under, for instance, 154, but usually they intervene under 139 when the municipality fails in its responsibility, whether in governance or financial or service delivery. And they can intervene by issuing directives or taking over administration under 139B, or dissolving the municipality under 139C, or taking appropriate steps to ensure that the budget or revenue raising measures are improved under section 139(4), or imposing a recovery plan and possible dissolution of the municipal council under section 139(5). So the National Department of Cooperative has no locus standi in intervening, but what is required under section 139B is that when the province has taken the decision to intervene, they must get concurrence with the National Department of Court. But if it's under 139(5), we just get informed. We don't have to concur. So the question is whether I have any intention of intervening. I cannot intervene. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Brank.
Thank you, Chair. I want to differ with the Minister on one aspect, and that is that if the province doesn't intervene, or it fails in its subsection 4 and 5 intervention, in terms of 139(7), national government has got a responsibility to intervene in the province, and that's the fail-safe mechanism that our system of intergovernmental relations has in terms of the Constitution. So national government does have a role to play, Minister. And of course, it's not suggested that national government place a province under administration every time there's a problem in a municipality, but surely there is a role to proactively address these things. Minister, the DA is in possession of an email sent by the Deputy Manager of Corporate Support Services of the Mogalakwena municipality last year in November. The email invites general workers who had already been appointed to come and submit their CVs, which suggests that this is an after-the-fact regularizing of an irregularity. We also have sources who give us information to this effect. My question is, when the minister is confronted with evidence of this nature, of irregularities in the municipality, what does she do? And will she take up this issue of Mogalakwena? And I do have a copy of the email for her perusal. Thanks very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. I know that the MEC and the province are dealing with the matter, and we will just await their conclusion, but I know they are dealing with the matter. Not because of the email, but because of many other things. They are dealing with the matter of Mogalakwena. So we are waiting for them to conclude their process, but they are dealing with it. And we just need to wait for that. And in terms of the national intervening, yes, we've intervened. We are in Northwest, we intervened. But it doesn't mean that, as you say yourself, that if there is one municipality that has a problem, now the province has to be under administration. No, it won't happen like that. But Mogalakwena is being dealt with Just wait a week or two or so, it's being dealt with, you'll see. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Kaza.
Thank you very much, Chair. Minister, MPECs have dismally failed to hold the executive to account. Do you not think that MPECs in municipalities are swallowed in the politics of patronage? Do you not think that the MPECs could maximize their performance in municipalities in the same way in which the Select Committee on Public Accounts delivers on its mandate? How would you ensure that the Municipal Public Account Committee fulfill their constitutional mandate in terms of Section 79 of the Municipal Structures Act? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
I just hope that, I just wish we could listen, because earlier I did say Treasury and COCTA have worked on a guide and a toolkit and are training councillors on how to deal with their responsibilities if they are in MPEC. So we are doing something about it together with Treasury. And I said it earlier, but it was a different question. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Opperman.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. With the exception of Lepelle and Nkumpi, most municipalities in Limpopo are dangerously dysfunctional. The province are aware of this and they are failing to intervene proactively. Are you aware, Minister, that in Tambazimbi municipality, 8 ANC councillors individually owe the municipality up to 78,000 rand each for the past 2 years, despite Schedule 1 of the Systems Act being clear that councillors should not be in arrears for more than 3 months? How will the department address the issue in this municipality?
Point of order, Chair. My question was not based on whether the councillors are trained or not. It was based on the MPEC's mandate in terms of Section 79 of the Municipal
Okay,
Act.
okay, Honorable Member.
So perhaps the minister could not get me on that one.
Honorable
So
Member.
in that sense, I'm not answered, Chair.
Can I deal with that? Honorable Member, the Minister has responded to the question. And if the Honorable Member is not happy with the answer, we still have your supplementary questions. You will deal with that at that stage. But for now, the Minister has answered the question to the best of her ability so far. Thank you very much.
Chairperson, just a point of order.
Yep.
I think the member is clarifying the minister that she misunderstood the question. Don't protect the chairperson. Just check with her if she misunderstood the question or not, so we can get a proper answer. That's all.
I have ruled on that, Honorable Member. Thank you. Honorable Hill-Lewis.
Thank you, sir. I wonder if our member could just restate her question. I think it's probably been lost in the
Can I take
dialogue.
advice on that? For now, Honorable Minister, would you like to respond again?
No, I'm responding to Opperman.
Okay. Honorable Opperman.
Didn't she ask a question?
Yes, there was a question. You can ask the question again. Honorable Opperman.
wants- I know what she asked, but if she has to ask again, it's fine.
Honorable Opperman.
Chairperson, are
Okay,
you
just-
asking the minister if she wants to respond to EFF question? Please.
Honorable Mkalepe.
No, she wants to respond to us.
Honorable Mkalepe.
Chairperson.
Honorable Mkalepe, just hold.
Yeah.
Okay, just hold.
Okay.
You will realize, you should realize that Honorable Ceza was posing a question when it was Honorable Opperman's time to pose a question.
Oh,
All right?
okay.
So
you are referring to this member, not our member.
not.
I'm
now.
not talking to you.
refer-
I'm talking to
okay,
the chairperson.
Honorable Mkalepe, yes.
Oh, okay.
Can we
Please,
restart
Chairperson,
the
you must be
process? I will
clear
deal
now. We
with
must
that.
not confuse things because we want our questions to be answers as well. Otherwise, we are going to call bouncers now.
On a point of order,
Honorable Mkalepe,
Chairperson.
we are out of order. Honorable Opperman, can we restart this?
Point of order, Chairperson.
Can you do your part as well?
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. With the exception of Lepelle and Nkumpi, most municipalities in Limpopo are dangerously dysfunctional. The province are aware of this and they are failing to intervene proactively. Are the minister aware that in Tambazimbi municipality, 8 ANC councillors individually owe the municipality up to 78,000 rand each for rates and services for the past 2 years, despite Schedule 1 of the Systems Act being clear that councillors should not be in areas for more than 3 months? How will her department address this issue?
Honorable Minister, are you in a position to answer?
If Tabazimbi is not able to run the municipality, they must say so. Because you can't say, Councillor so in Tabazimbi has done that. What is the national minister going to do? If you can't run that municipality, let us know and we'll run it for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Ceza. Honorable Ceza.
Chairperson.
Yes. You posed a supplementary question.
Yes, I did, Chairperson.
And the Honorable Minister answered the way she did. I cannot dictate what the Honorable Minister should say or should not say. But the opportunity that is available to you, if you are not happy or not satisfied with the answer that you got, is that you still have an opportunity to put your question in writing so that you get an answer. Because what is important here is whether you got an answer to take to your constituents. Thank you very much. Shall we
Chairperson,
continue?
I just want to ask the question in principle as to...
Let us not dialogue about it, Honorable Member.
What becomes the use for the exercise to come here and ask questions there?
Honorable Ceza, I made a ruling on that. Would you mind accepting it? Can we continue? Honorable Kibi.
Chairperson. I chair.
What's your point of order, Honorable Mukadi?
But Chairperson, it seems as if you don't even understand what you are raising as well here. We are saying, Chair, wait. We are saying, Chairperson, she responded and she does not provide the answer as per the question.
Honorable
so we are not, no, Chairperson, wait. We are not saying...
Honorable Mkalepe, we can't have
Chairperson, we are
a
not saying
situation where we are going to do what we are doing.
Chairperson, we are not saying that you are not happy about the response. We are
Honorable
saying she's
Mkalepe,
responding on the
Point
misinformed position.
I will have to switch off your mind.
Yes.
But what is your problem when? What?
What's your point of order, Honorable Member?
Chairperson.
Can one of you take a
Yes.
seat? What's your point of order, Honorable Member?
Chairperson, I'm rising on rule number 92 to say if you've made a ruling, there shouldn't be any follow-up on your ruling. And we must abide by that rule in this House.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable members, can we be in order, please? Honorable members. Honorable Kibi.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Minister, does the department have any machinery in place in taking appropriate steps to ensure that the budget or revenue-raising measures are approved where a municipality is placed under Section 154 and subsequently Section 139? I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Honorable Member, I will answer that question later because it doesn't arise directly from this question. It's a totally different question, but I'll answer it.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Question 302 has been asked by Honorable Maneli to the Minister in the Presidency. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Maneli, the Ministers of Finance and the Minister of Public Service are the executive authority responsible for leading the amendments on these legislative frameworks you have mentioned, which includes the Municipal Finance Management Act, the Public Finance Management Act, and the Public Service Act. Having said so, we will nonetheless make our inputs into the amendments as per normal legislative review processes. As part of this process, the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation in the Presidency subjects new laws and regulations to the socio-economic impact assessment process before submission to Cabinet and Parliament. The assessment results will inform Cabinet if the revisions of the PFMA and MFMA enables and facilitate rather than impede developmental objectives and effective and efficient implementation of programs, whilst ensuring accountability, transparency, and combating fraud and corruption. Ke a leboga.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Maneli.
Thank you, House Chair. Thanks, Honorable Minister, for the response that's reassuring that by the time these pieces of legislations are introduced, that Cabinet and Parliament would have been assured that a socio-economic impact assessment has been done. But Minister, whilst waiting for the responsible department to introduce proposed amendment to these pieces of legislation, what other measures has government introduced to ensure that our development objectives are achieved as outlined in the National Development Plan? I think.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Thank you once again, Honorable Manel. Outside of these legislative prescripts, the Sixth Administration has identified 7 priorities to respond to impediments to our developmental objective and fast-track economic development. And these 7 priorities, as we all know, the first one is economic transformation and job creation. Second one, education, skills, and education, skilling, and health, ensuring health of our nation. Third one, consolidating the social wage through reliable and quality basic services. Fifth one, spatial integration, human settlements, and local government. Fifth one, social cohesion and safer communities, including the fight against corruption and crime. The sixth one, a capable, ethical, and developmental state. And lastly, a better world and a better Africa and a better world. These 7 priorities have informed the crafting of the framework medium-term strategic framework which will guide and anchor the work of government in the next 5 years to achieve developmental objectives in line with the National Development Plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Malatsi.
Thanks, Chairperson. Minister Mthembu, given the rampant corruption in the public service, will the presidency support the blacklisting of public servants and politicians who have proven track records of unethical behavior, incompetence, and failure, some of whom are known ANC leaders, to prevent them from working in the public service as part of measures to prevent government departments and entities from recycling the same failed officials and politicians into the public service? If not, what are your reasons?
Honorable Minister. Thank you, Honorable Member.
Mr. Malatsi, Honorable Malatsi, you'll know there are ample pieces of legislation in this country to deal with any incidences of corruption, whether in the public service or in the private sector. Therefore, we have the means to deal with corruption, and as we have said, one of our priorities is dealing with corruption and crime in our country. We will not be found wanting in relation to these matters, and we have the necessary legislative framework to ensure that corruption is dealt with. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Honorable Minister.
Chairperson, I just wanted to say I'm glad that Mr. Mthembu knows who the real minister should be.
But Honorable Lewis, no. Hey. Honorable Mautwe, I think.
Thank you very much, Chair. To the Minister and the Presidency, part of your mandate is monitoring, planning, and evaluation. I think I'm right. Now, we've got acts that are nicely written, but never implemented. You've got your PFMA, your MFMA, your PSA. Now, the question is, what is failing you and your department to be more proactive than being reactive? Because we hear every year the Auditor General coming here and giving us very bad reports about many departments in your government. All the SOEs right now as they stand, they're getting disclaimers, which is very bad. Now, what measures do you have in place to make sure that you are more, you spoke about lifestyle audits earlier on, but that is going to be something that you use as a functional tool for your own government. So tell us what you are going to do that is going to prevent us from what we are experiencing currently now. Thank you.
Honorable Minister.
You know, the planning, monitoring, and evaluation approach is an approach that government just adopted a few years ago. But such an approach has also not found concrete expression even at local level. We are, of course, busy trying to ensure that such an approach is rolled out to our provincial offices through the offices of the premiers. Therefore, indeed, it is work in progress, this exercise that we have started. After some time, all of us will do some evaluation and see whether there are any other activities we need to include in our planning, monitoring, and evaluation efforts. But at the moment, I think we are on track, and we know that there are many other metros and municipal offices that also are getting assistance from us to ensure that there is effective monitoring at those levels as well. I can assure you, if we didn't have the capacity to plan, to monitor, and evaluate, the probability is that we will be in a worse off situation now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. My list for this question is exhausted. The question goes to, it's a question from Honorable Sheikh Imam to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Honorable Minister.
No, thank you very much. I think it's important for us to understand the different spheres and what their responsibilities are. Now, to be asked about tenders in the municipalities is a bit too much. Because you can't quote me any regulation or rule that says I must now, the National Department of Culture can now intervene in tenders at the municipality. I think we must accept where we do not have the legislative or legal means to go and intervene in a municipality on tenders. There are rules, there are regulations on how municipalities must issue tenders. Now, if they issue them fraudulently, the law must take its course. So for me, all I can say is that the Municipal Financial Management Act empowers the National Treasury to give directives and to play a directive and oversight. But to this end, the Treasury on the 30th of May 2014 published the Municipal Regulations and Financial Misconduct Procedures and Criminal Procedures. These regulations set out processes and procedures and reporting requirements to expeditiously deal with allegations of financial misconduct. These regulations must be read together with the Municipal System Act 2000 and the regulations issued in terms thereof. Furthermore, municipalities are required to establish disciplinary boards to assist the municipal council or the board of directors of a municipal entity with the investigation of allegations of financial misconduct. For our part, and in order to reinforce our efforts to fight corruption and promote good governance, the department has rolled out training programs since the beginning of 2017-2018 financial year in each district level on the local government anti-corruption strategy and the municipal integrity management framework. The strategy sets out the objectives that must be pursued by municipalities to prevent and combat corruption. The department has almost completed the training in more than 90% of the districts and metros, and this will be completed in the next financial year. So in combating and further preventing corruption, the department is working with provinces and municipalities to ensure the implementation of recommendations emanating from forensic reports. Most of the forensic reports made recommendations that certain remedial or other corrective measures should be taken. Furthermore, the department is collaborating with SALGA, the Ethics Institute, and the Moral Regeneration Movement to launch the Local Government Ethical Leadership Initiative. In addition to this, the department will continue to collaborate with law enforcement agencies, such as SIU, the Hawks, National Prosecuting Authority, to support investigation and prosecutions in municipalities, as well as the implementation of recommendations emanating from the forensic reports. That's what we are doing, that's what Treasury has done, but we have no direct way of intervening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, House Chair. Minister, I'm very disappointed at your response. It is very clear, even Chief Justice Mogoeng has said, this country, provincial, local, provincial and national, loses over 200 billion rand a year in this country. Now the question is corporate governance, the very word corporate governance. What are we doing to mitigate or put in measures in place so this corruption that takes place, particularly with tender fraud, not getting value for money in all spheres of government? It is the responsibility of COCTA. And I know that COCTA is a toothless body nationally when it comes to issues to deal with the province and local, because you can't do anything about it. Provincial tells national, don't interfere. This is a provincial mandate. Now the question is, what measures are you putting in place to mitigate, to stop this level of looting in all spheres of government so that we get value for money and take that extra 200 billion and put it into delivery of services in the country?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Corporate governance. Earlier, I talked about how we are trying to work as a government, not as distinct spheres. And I said that this way of working at a district level will also introduce transparency. Because if you all have one plan, one budget, and you know who's supposed to do what when, that will introduce a level of accountability, because everybody will know what COCTA is supposed to do in this district. Everybody will know how much money is supposed to be spent on that project and when it's supposed to be done. So obviously, if there is a school or a bridge or a municipal offices to be built and they are not built, the money is disappearing, we will all know and we will take action in this one plan, one budget. But I'm talking about as things stand today. And that's why we have said, we have learned lessons from the past 25 years of working in an uncoordinated, non-integrated, non-cooperative way. And that's why now we are introducing that. That's why we are piloting that, so that indeed everyone can be accountable, both for implementing, but also for the resources that are being spent. But it is also for the same reason that the Auditor General introduced the amendment, so that he can actually give a certificate of debt to the person who's done wrong and the debt be collected. So there are measures that we are taking in terms of cooperative government, so that we stop this thing of saying, no, this is national sphere, this is provincial sphere, this is local. That's precisely why the district development model is being piloted, so that we can all have sight on what is supposed to happen in every district in this country, by who and for how much. So we are doing that, because we have recognized the weaknesses that were there. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Frank.
Thanks, Chair. Minister, a big reason why tender fraud and wastage in municipalities balloons to such an extent is because officials who commit irregularities or fraud or corruption can get away so easily. So today you've spent a great deal of time telling us how little you can do from a cooperative governance perspective. But one thing that you can do, Minister, is to keep a list of officials who have been dismissed in municipalities or who have resigned in anticipation of facing disciplinary consequences. In fact, Section 57, capital A of the Municipal Systems Act anticipates or requires the minister to keep such a list. And of course, its purpose would be to stop job hoppers from resigning from one municipality where they have created a mess or stolen money or broken the rules and then being hired at a different municipality. And Minister, of course, we can talk about the examples of CFOs under whose watch
Thank you very
money was
much,
deposited in
Honourable
BBS
Member.
Bank. Has that list been updated, Minister? Thanks very much.
Honourable Minister.
Yes, that list is there, but that list does not, when somebody is going to be employed, the MM, we get informed and we have to look at it, look at whether they meet the requirements and advise. But not every level of official in a municipality we are informed about. So for those that we are informed about, yes, but there are lots at a lower level who we are not informed about, who work in the municipalities. And sometimes people who work in the supply chain may not necessarily be in the category where, when they are employed, we get informed. So yes, you are right, where we get informed by law, but the others where we don't get informed, it still happens. But that's why I was saying we work with the Hawks, we work with everybody where fraud has been committed so that they can investigate and find out what is going on. But the council themselves, because we're talking here as though there is no oversight in the municipalities, the councils must also take their responsibility in the municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Kaza.
Thank you very much, Chair. Minister, will the government consider abolishing tenders for good governance? Because up to date, since 1994, the manner in which the tenders are designed are only designed only to benefit a few in society with meager salaries that are given to workers. So resulting in this 240 billion tender fraud that could not provide permanent work. So how is it that the minister is going to put measures in place for government to do away with tenders so that we deal with the issue of unemployment permanently in South Africa? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Ngqongqoshe.
The Minister of Finance ungibuka kabi njengoba ngisukuma. So angizuphendula lo mbuzo. But let me say that where tenders are done wrongly, they must be addressed. The important thing in that district model, let me finish. The important thing in the district model is really to ensure that we have people who can do the work in the district. That's why once the district model works, we will not have municipalities getting consultants or service providers doing tenders, even for IDPs, even for their financial reports, even for all these things, just doing tenders. We want them to have capacity to do it internally. That's the first thing. But of course, if there is a big bridge in the N2 that needs to be built, then they cannot do that. They would have to then, national, province, local will have to get a company that can do that. But it should be done properly. And also, if we train people in the district, they can provide a lot of the services. Even in the existing companies, if we train, for instance, if there's an auto company, government is saying young people other people should be trained to provide the spares. The spares must not come from all over the place. They must be manufactured here by small companies that then feed to the big companies. So the important thing is to ensure that we have small and medium enterprises that do the work, because if we don't, then we'll end up with this kind of, and also train our young people so that their skills address what the economy needs. And I agree with you. You can't give me a tender to provide SAA with aircrafts. If I get such a tender, it's wrong. And that kind of tender that would give me a tender to buy aircrafts for SAA, then that tender is no good. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I was just about to address the denouement, Honorable Minister, of your voice, but you ended up at a climax. Thank you very much.
Chair, I think once again, Chair, I will...
Honorable Kaza, I did not recognize you, Chief. Honorable Mutambi.
Thank you, House Chair. Minister, the amendment of the Public Audit Act provides the Auditor General with more power to ensure accountability. The question to you, Minister, is that what is your department doing in making sure that all the entities that report to within your portfolio support the AG in this regard?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Obviously, we would like, let me start by saying, yes, there are problems in the department, for instance. Let's start with the Department of Culture. There are problems there, but we are dealing with them. Obviously, the AG, when you have a disclaimer in a department, may end up issuing a debt, a certificate of debt somewhere if he feels that something was done wrongly by an individual or a accounting individual. Obviously, we will support him. But we are also, the audit committee and other entities are working, and we are also developing a plan. We have a plan to make sure we address some of the issues that the Auditor General has been raising in his audits. For instance, DCOC, there are lots of things that the Auditor General has raised. But in traditional affairs, they got a clean audit. In MISA, they got a clean audit. But where there are issues, we are addressing them so that, one, we improve, but also the officials themselves need to make sure that they don't end up with a certificate of debt from the Auditor General. We are doing our best, but we're starting from a very low base of a disclaimer, not 1 year, but a number of years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The next question is 307, asked by Honorable Magloa to the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. The Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. The amalgamation of Ventersdorp and Tlokwe local municipalities, which resulted in the formation of the JB Max local municipality in 2016, I would say, frankly, it hasn't achieved all its intended results. If we judge it by the rate of community protests relating to service delivery, I would say it hasn't. And also, there has been some improvement. It's not all gloom and doom. There's been some improvement in service delivery at a very slow pace. For an example, the municipality managed to stabilize the electricity network in Ventersdorp. More households have been connected to the grid than before the merger. And they've been able to buy the more equipment and yellow fleet to deploy it in Ventersdorp for fast-tracking service delivery. However, in recent times, there have been community protests that took place in Ventersdorp on matters relating again to service delivery. And as a result, the Premier of the province has established a technical task team comprising officials from the provincial government and from the municipality to address the concerns. We've also been informed that the task team meets on a monthly basis with the communities of Ventersdorp to address the challenges. We also know that the municipality is finalizing a master plan to address service delivery backlogs and to promote more development in the area to stimulate economic growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Matloa.
Thank you so much, House Chair. Honorable Minister, I appreciate your honesty, the fact that it hasn't achieved the desired fruit. And all of this happened also in the midst of you heading an interministerial task team where the province and 10 portfolios in the province itself is under administration. Minister, the ANC in 2011 had 61% of the votes in Clock were JB Marks. And in 2016, they got 50.8% support in JB Marks. Can you tell us, Minister, the truth, why the amalgamation had to take place?
Thank you, Honorable Member.
The amalgamation took place in 2016, not in the midst of me being in the Northwest. I think you got your years wrong. There was a need to amalgamate because there was a thinking that amalgamating the two will make them stronger. It will make a stronger municipality than the two separate. And the weaker one will be strengthened by the stronger one when they are amalgamated. I think that was the reason. And of course, measures you don't just measure and everything works the following day. It takes time. Even just the measure itself takes time because you're taking two municipalities that may not even belonging to the same class. One municipality may be having higher salaries, another one lower, and all sorts of things that have to be dealt with in a measure. So you can't say it has failed in a few years, but I'm just being honest that I can't stand here today and say everything is okay. But there is progress, and so we just have to work hard at it. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable PM Hatebe.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. Honorable Minister, following the Minister's request in terms of Section 22, subsection 2 of the Municipal Demarcation Act, the Municipal Demarcation Board has raised concerns that during the process of redetermination of boundaries, many municipalities do not fully participate in the process. So the question is, how can the department intervene or assist in ensuring that there's maximum participation, particularly from those affected municipalities? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Yes, you are correct. We have started working with the Demarcation Board to make sure that when they go to a municipality, the municipality and the councillors in that municipality are informed. They know they must participate, the community must participate. It's something that we are doing, but yes, they've raised that with us, that when they go to the municipalities, they find that they only meet with planners in the municipality. And the people don't know, the councillors don't come, and then when the demarcation has been done, they start complaining because they were not there in the discussion. So it's something that we are working on. As I say, we are making sure that they are informed, and we hope that they will indeed participate. But there is a process to encourage them to participate in those discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Vassals.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honourable Minister, in 2017, the FFC, Financial and Fiscal Commission's submission to the Division of Revenue, published a result of research that they did with regards to amalgamation of municipalities. And the research that they published were very clear that what you just said, why this amalgamation happened to actually save the municipality, is not the case. And they based it on case studies of what was done previously, and that in all those cases, all the towns affected were worse off. So is it not time, Minister, to stop with the amalgamations and to focus on smaller, effective units of service delivery? Is it not time for a new approach, as this one has clearly failed? I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Thank you. What we have decided as a department is that we must do a proper study of why they are failing. Where there's success, then we see why it's succeeding. And we are not going to be, at least as a department, be asking for more amalgamations until we understand why they are not working properly as envisaged. So we're not going to be asking for more amalgamations, because there may be, when we research, we may find that maybe there are certain ingredients that are needed for it to succeed. But for now, we are not calling for more amalgamations until we understand what is going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Soma is the last person on this list. Honorable Soma.
My apology, Honorable House Chair. I'm coming on the following question. Thank you.
You are in my list, remember, but it's fine. We'll go to the last question of the day, asked by Honorable Malumane to the Minister in the Presidency. Honorable the Minister.
Chair, Cabinet at its June 2019 deliberations endorsed the 25-year review report as being a fair reflection of the achievements and challenges the democratic government and our people have experienced since 1994. The departure point of the 25-year review report is that the apartheid system subjected black people, and black women in particular, to innumerable forms of discrimination and bias, and rural people and youth were marginalized. Women bore the brunt of poverty. The 25-year review found that multidimensional poverty, measured in terms of composite indicators for health, education, standard of living, and economic activity, has decreased. This is because government programs over the past 25 years have protected millions of South Africans against the devastating impact of poverty through social grants and free basic services, amongst others. However, when measured in terms of the financial dimensions, poverty levels have increased and remain inconsistent with government-stated objectives. The face of poverty in South Africa is still black and female. This has remained one of the greatest development challenges in South Africa after 1994. At the launch of the 25-year review report on the 8th of November 2019, the president of our country accentuated the existing seamless connection between the recommendations made in the 25-year review report and the 7 national government priorities for 2019-2024 as articulated earlier. These priorities are embodied and embedded in the medium-term strategic framework 2019-2024, which will inform the work of government and non-government actors alike for the 5 years. Answering the second question B, having provided political leadership and technical support for the production of both the 25-year review report and the medium-term strategic framework 2019 to 2024, the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation's role is to ensure implementation of the latter by all key role players, state and non-state. This will be achieved through cascading the medium-term strategic framework into the strategic and annual performance plans of government departments, as well as social compacts with non-state actors to achieve the eradication of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Malatsi.
Minister Mthembu, the fact that poverty levels remain as high as they currently are, and that both inequality and unemployment continue as they have been for the last few years, is proof that the government's economic policies are clearly failing. Will the presidency be courageous enough to adopt pro-growth policies in order to attract investment and provide support to small businesses so that you can optimize job creation and tackle inequality? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malatsi. It was a bit premature. I was supposed to have called Honorable Maluma.
Can we take it?
Yes, please. Then we'll
it
go
will be
back to
very
Mr.
myopic to think that discrimination of over 300 years could be stopped within a 25-year period. Very, indeed, but looked from where we were 25 years ago, indeed we can, without any hesitation, say that the lives of people have improved for the better. By the way, in 1994, when we took over, there were only 8 million people employed in our country. How many are there today? Over 16 million. But again, black people like you,
honorable members,
black people like you, Malatsi, never even thought that they would even get into parliament. Never even thought. So you must be thankful that through the work of the ANC, you are a sitting member of parliament. Again, women were nothing under apartheid. Were non-people. They could not own anything. Today, women are not only members of parliament and ministers, but are owners of business in our country. Thank you very much for the 25-year achievements. Of course, we still need to do a lot to ensure that our economy works. We still need to do a lot. Our economy is not working as we would have thought. But of course, how would it work when it excluded so many people 25 years ago? But we are on track. We have a strategy that has come from the Minister of Finance to ensure that our economy works, and we are on track. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Malomane.
Thank you, Chair. Asibonge Minister, sibonga ukuthi litiko liqhubekela phambili, litiko liyasebenta. My follow-up question, it will be, what are the findings of the 25-year review in respect of the triple fault lines of poverty, unemployment, and inequality based on race? Minister, ngicela ungive kahle. Based on race, class, and gender. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Based on the statistics analysis used by the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, on the 25-year review as provided by Stats South Africa, the total population trapped in low...
Order. What is your point of order, Honorable?
House
Julius?
Chairperson, I'd just like to know, in terms of accountability, how can you, the minister, read a follow-up question from the ANC?
Honorable Member.
Are you not holding the ministers accountable?
Honorable Member,
Are you
please.
not?
Please. Why do you want to disrupt the flow?
Perhaps we need to deal with the facts and the figures, all of them. Now, again, let's start where we started, Honorable Chair.
Yes, you loud, Honorable Minister.
Based on statistics.
Order, Honorable Members.
Lalele. Used by the Department of Planning and Monitoring on the 25-year review, as provided by Stats South Africa in 2017, the total population trapped in lower bound poverty in 2011, that is living on an income of 758 rands per person per month, was 41.4%, well, 41.4% were black African women. By 2015, this figure had increased to 49.2%. In contrast, only 0.5% of those living with the lower bound poverty line in 2011 were white males. Furthermore, while lower bound poverty levels for black African women deteriorated, levels for white males improved marginally from 0.5% in 2011 to 0.4% in 2015. The review also elucidated the fact that over the 25 years of democracy, the number of people employed has doubled from some 8.9 million in 1994 to 16.5 million in 2018. However, the country's economy, which recorded a pedestrian 2.8% GDP growth over the 25 years, did not create jobs at the rate required to absorb the existing army of unemployed and new entrants. Translating the numbers into rates, the 25-year review report found that the official unemployment rate reached an all-time high of 36.4% in 1999, fell below 25% between 2006 and 2015, reached a figure of 21.5% in 2008, just as the global financial crisis hit.
Thank you.
But subsequently...
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Lesuma.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. Having noted the pronouncement made by the Minister of Finance during the MTBPS on cost-cutting measures, Honorable House Chair, has the National Treasury issued any instructions in the form of the practice note or any other tool to effect the decision made and pronouncement made? Thank you, Honorable House Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
The cost-cutting measures as pronounced by the Minister of Finance. What is the problem?
Honorable members, please.
You don't want me to look down? Okay. The cost-cutting measures as pronounced by the Minister of Finance are indeed measures that all of us will be speaking to through our programs in government. But secondly, even as the President interacts with us and signs performance agreements with all of us as executive authorities, the issues of cost-cutting measures will be part of those agreements that we will sign. Equally, even the agreements that will be signed, performance agreements that will be signed between the DGs and other low-ranking officials will take into account the cost-cutting measures as pronounced by the Minister of Finance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. And the last person on this list is Honorable Mkhalipi.
Minister, ake sikhulume ngesiZulu le ndaba. Ngoba manje mabe sikhuluma ngesingisi, khona la silahlekelana khona. Sikhuluma ngodaba olubucayi kabi la, loku-addressa amathuba omsebenzi, poverty, inhlupheko yabantu. So manje nina minister nihlala lapha e-boardroom. Nicabangela abantu abahluphekayo. Nibhale nithi nansi research on the basis of this research. You must be practical. Manje wena ke njengominister okade manje uthi apartheid yaphela nina njengo-government ka-ANC, democratic government, ni practical. Laba abantu abahluphekayo ababhuqwa indlala every day, nina nishawa umoya lapha njengama-cabinet ministers. Niyenza kanjani ukuthi to address this thing, because you must be worried instead of coming here and talk big English. Why our people are suffering? Awume. Abantu bakhe Free State.
Wena awuhlale phansi. Ubamba umthetho. Honorable Minister.
Let's just start where you ended. If the ANC government was not a caring government, the president would not have said in the next 5 years he would like to have people coming into their country with investments worth 1.2 trillion rand. He would not have said that. But what have we done? What have we done?
Can you just hold for a second?
Ngizwa nginokhulu ukuphoxeka ngoba lana umhlonishwa wethu la ukhulumela abantu abasemakhaya nothi ngeEnglish ngesiZulu. Bengicela phendule ngesiZulu. Uyasazi. Hayi indaba lo becasha ngeEnglish la. Mabe campaign ngama language.
Mongameli wezwe uthe ukuze silwisane nendlala silwisane nokuhlupheka uzawuyenza konke okusemandleni wakhe ukuthi kube nabantu abafaka imali ezweni imali ezifaka ezitha zifike ku 1.2 trillion kule minyaka emihlanu ezayo kulonyaka lo esikhuluma ngawo kuloku umongameli akhulumile abantu abafake imali sebafake imali ezingu 363 billion ukuze abantu bakithi bathole imisebenzi ngingasakhulumi ngalonyaka nje kuphela kulonyaka lo ophelile ku investment conference futhi ebeyenziwe umongameli abantu abafaka imali abakhona eNingizimu Afrika futhi abavela ngaphandle bafake u300 billion ukuze kwakhiwe amathuba emisebenzi. So siyabona ke ukuthi impela lo hulumeni kaKhongolose, lo hulumeni kaANC uzimisele ukwenza amathuba emisebenzi nokwenza ukuthi na intsha yethu yaseNingizimu Afrika ithole imisebenzi ngenxa yalama investments afakiwe ezweni. Sibonga kakhulu baba.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Chairperson, order. Njengoba upresident wakho exosha abasebenzi eplazini lakhe. Uzobaqasha kanjani abantu ezweni? Cover that one.
Honorable Mkhaliphi, I did not even recognize you. Honorable members, can I get your attention, please? Can I get your attention, please? I really need special tranquility for this. Yes, special tranquility. Honorable members, the time allocated for the questions has expired. Outstanding replies received will be printed in the Hansard. That concludes the business of the day. And the House is adjourned.